What's up, you guys? So, my prediction for Robert Whittaker, Yoel Romero, I actually just watched the first fight. The UFC uploaded it. So, anybody and everybody can hop on YouTube and run the first fight back, check it out. I always like to, if possible, watch, the first fight. If somebody's having a rematch, I like to watch their first fight just a few days before the rematch so I can, really refresh my memory and get everything to the forefront of my mind as to how the first fight played out. It just puts me in a good place going into a rematch because everything's fresh regarding the first fight. So that's what I did, and I feel like it put me in a good place because I really learned a lot from watching their first fight. Here you have Yoel Romero, right? This big fucking dude who's scary as hell. I mean, looks-wise, physique and demeanor, there's nobody fucking scarier than Yoel Romero. The dude's cut out of granite. He looks like he's juiced to the gills. I don't know how he passed his drug tests, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and say the dude is on something, but I don't think that kind of physique is natural. Regardless of your genetics, I don't think you can look like that naturally. I don't think there's any way. For those of you guys who aren't familiar, you look up Yoel Romero, Yoel, first name, and then Romero, Romero, and check out his physique. I mean, if it is all natural, fuck, man, the dude, has been blessed beyond any words you can ever think of. I mean, the physique is absolutely out of this world. But with a physique like that comes fatigue, exhaustion. It's no secret that the more muscle you hold, the more oxygen your body requires to function, to operate, because that muscle needs oxygen to perform. So, if you have a guy who's fucking crammed into his frame like Yoel Romero, or, it makes me think of like Phil Baroni back in the day. Phil Baroni was hell on wheels for the first 2 minutes of a fight, and then he was basically just going through the motions after that because he didn't have, his body was just deprived of oxygen because he had so much fucking mass and so much muscle stuffed in there. And Yoel Romero, I see a lot of similarities. With that said, I think his cardio is pretty good. But I think, after the first few rounds, if you can bring him into deep water, make him swim with the sharks, you can drown him. I think you can get that ship to sink because there's just so much fucking mass there that if you make him work really hard in the early rounds, you'll be able to really benefit from it later on in a fight. So I'm going to give the edge to Robert Whittaker because every time I see the guy, he's getting better and better and fucking better all the time, and everything from his striking to his movement, everything, and these two have been in there against each other before, so he knows exactly what he's up against. The only thing I'm wondering is, it wasn't too long ago that Robert Whittaker had to pull out of a scheduled fight against Luke Rockhold because of a staph infection, I think in his stomach, that went untreated. And, for whatever reason, it was like a downward spiral, and he was bedridden. Like, he couldn't fucking train for a little while. And he got chicken pox and all sorts of shit. So I think this is his first fight back after having that ordeal. So, yeah, the real question is, what's he going to look like coming back? I mean, my mind is telling me, he wouldn't be back. He wouldn't have accepted this fight if he wasn't, in tip-top fucking shape. And, so I think he's, I'm going to assume he's going to be the same Robert Whittaker we've always seen. But at the end of the day, we don't know. What if he had some lingering effects from the shit he went through and he wasn't able to push as hard in training? Will that affect his cardio in the fight? There's a lot of things that we don't know, but I'm going to assume that he's going to be the same old Robert Whittaker and he's made a full recovery. But yeah, like I was saying, Yoel Romero is fucking scary, man. And he hits like a truck. I I think Robert Whittaker said that himself, and it's no secret, man. The guy is just built like a brick shithouse, and anything he hits you with, is gonna fucking hurt. And he's explosive. He's very explosive. So, there's very little room for error when you're fighting a guy like Yoel Romero. But I think Robert Whittaker, he's smart enough. He's fought enough now to where he's had enough experience against, top caliber, top flight opponents that, I think he's matured. So he's not going to make those amateur mistakes. But it's no secret, if you fight a guy like Yoel Romero, just based on how he's built, you got to make him work. You got to make him work hard right away in the fight. You got to limit his chances, limit his opportunities, keep him moving backwards. But you got to always stay alert because if the guy could explode at any time. And if he fucking explodes, you got to be ready for it because when he comes forward, there's no stopping it. So, I just think Robert Whittaker has the recipe. I think he has the tools to get it done. Little too technical. I think he's just going to have better cardio. And yeah, I don't know. We've seen kinks in Romero's armor in the past. Where his corner and him will try to fucking orchestrate this thing where they get a little extra time on the bench in the corner to recover. Just little things like that. So I think you can break him. I think you can mentally break Yoel Romero, whereas Robert Whittaker's tough as nails, and I think he's going to be in there till the end. So I think that's how it's going to play out. It's going to be pretty even through the first few rounds, but I think Robert Whittaker's going to take over as the fight goes on. Let me know what you guys think.